Hello and welcome to Because Liberty, and I'm your host, Curtis Hart. On this episode, we're going to be doing a little discussion of a side project that I have going on. It's a little bit of radical liberty activism, if you will. It's called the Punisher Squad, and what we do in a nutshell is we hunt online child sex predators. We go after people that are looking very much to harm children. In some cases, they're looking to sell children. In some cases, they already have harmed children. And sometimes they've already done it, and they're just looking for more victims. So, that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode. So, my first message is to parents, and that would be to go ahead and push pause and then go hug your children. So, that's not a joke. That's not like me exaggerating at all. Go grab your children and hug them, and pray that they've not already been victimized by some monster out there. Sometimes when you go out and you try to catch these guys, you find out that they've already done somebody a lot of harm, and let's just really hope that they haven't done that to your children already. So I would suggest to you to go hug your children, and then maybe possibly get them off of social media. There's really no reason for your kids to be on social media. They can get all the cat video watching that they need to get off YouTube. They don't really need to have Facebook. There's no reason to have Snapchat. There's no reason for children to have some kind of device that automatically erases every single message and picture that goes through. That's just, from my personal experience hunting these child sex predators, every single one of them wants the child to use Snapchat for that specific reason. You need to talk to your children. You need to talk to your children a lot and make sure that they understand and that they're not going to get in trouble if some kind of predator reaches out to them for some type of reason and they come to you. You need to make sure that that's a thing that they're able to come and talk to you about. Because if they're not, then they won't. And you won't know who's talking to your kid if you're not doing these things to pay attention, if you're not taking these precautions. Quite frankly, and it's happened, a child sex predator reaches out to a young child, and, thank God some people, have already taught their kids what to do in case that happens. And sometimes that's not the case. And sometimes, some really bad things can end up happening. So, you need to talk to your kids about stranger danger online, but there's also the regular creeper danger from people that they already know. They need to understand that they can come talk to you, and you need to talk to them about that type of thing. But as far as this video is going to be going, we're going to be talking about the stranger danger online. Be wary of apps, any apps really that have the private messaging, direct messaging capabilities, the instant messaging, the Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. Especially watch out for Mocospace, Kick, and Whisper. Those last three that I mentioned, they are constantly being used by people out there looking for human trafficking victims, quite frankly, is what it is. So, parents, if you're going to let your kids use these social media apps, and a predator does end up reaching out to your children, there's, really good chance that you don't need to contact me. You can just contact the police. Your first step should usually be, if somebody's harassing you online, is to, take the proper steps to block that person. You need to make sure that that person can't be contacting your child anymore, at the very least. But, if they do reach out to you and they're sending you messages, go ahead and try to get as much information out of them as you can. But, you're going to want to contact the authorities, because that's eventually what I do. Like, I have a lot of people reach out to me for some reason. And they think that I am some kind of, like, something that I'm not. And, well, what I do is I end up turning people into the police for the things that I'm catching them doing online. It's not a situation where I go take the law into my own hands in any way. So, the very much you need to contact the police when that's going on. So my message for any children that may be watching, you need to understand something, that there's monsters out there. They're real. Monsters are real. They're not hiding under your bed, most likely. They're not hiding in your closet, most likely. They're hiding on the internet behind a computer screen, and they're pretending to be ages that they're not. They're 40-year-old men pretending to be 15-year-old boys. They're 27-year-old men out there talking to 15-year-old girls. They're very much 40-year-old men out there talking to 8-year-old kids, trying to get them to lure in their sisters and cousins, and most likely just out there harming everybody they can come into contact with. And I'm not trying to make you think that the world's a completely awful place, but you need to understand that there is some completely awful people out there, and you need to be wary. So if somebody messages you online that you don't know, you don't need to talk to that person. If you do end up getting contacted by some type of, stranger, some predator online, you need to tell a parent, you need to tell your parents or an adult that you trust, or somebody. You need to tell somebody. You need to not talk to the people. If you're not in a situation that you can tell anybody right away, you need to not contact the person at all and just, block them. Don't ever give out any of your personal information. Don't give out, I can't stress that enough. There's no reason to ever give somebody online your address or your phone number, for any reason whatsoever. Really, like, your parents can do that if they choose to. You don't need to. Sometimes when you go hunting for monsters, you find them, and you find out that they've already found victims. But sometimes the monsters are, let's say your daughter's new boyfriend, and after they can't find pills after a few weeks, he introduces her to heroin, and next thing she knows, she's waking up down in California with some guy on top of her. Because that's human trafficking. That's the way human trafficking works here in Cowlitz County specifically. It's a thing. It's a thing all over any place that's near I-5, but specifically, yes, in case anybody didn't know and anybody wasn't aware, human trafficking is a problem all over the world, but it's specifically happening in this county. There's specifically people out there that use heroin to get human trafficking victims, to make them not out to the point where they wake up in some other state and they're now a victim of the slave trade. So, the more you know. I've talked to monsters wanting to harm children as young as 4 years old. I've talked to pathetic pukes wanting to pay to sleep with children that, were in this county. Business owners wanting to pay to sleep with children. I've talked to slavers wanting to pay other children to bring him children to sell. This week. Hopefully that arrest will take place here pretty quick, but that happened this week. I've talked to people wanting to smoke meth with kids as young as 11 years old. I've talked to lots and lots of people in this county, in Cowlitz County, in this local area, that are very much willing and wanting to victimize and harm our kids. And so it's something that you need to talk to them about, and you need to make sure that they understand it's a thing that happens. That there are monsters in the neighborhood. They look like regular average people. Lately, actually, the people that I've caught, they trade they straight up, they look like molesters types. Like, yeah. The last 2 guys that I've caught this week, they totally have that molester look. But you know, on the average, the guys that I catch, they don't. So there you go. Oh. Yeah, hug your kids.